How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to City Skylines, and welcome back to Vanillaville. As I'm sure you know, I don't need to tell you, but I'm going to anyway. This is part 15 of our completely unmodded Cities Skylines series. And it's probably the last city that we're going to build and hopefully complete before Cities Skylines 2 comes out, which is actually something I want to take just a second to talk about. I've had a couple of people asking me why I'm not covering the dev diaries for Cities Skylines 2. And there are two reasons for that. Reason number one is that there's still a little way to go before Cities Skylines 2 comes out, and I want to temper my expectations. I'm expecting it to be amazing. I've heard so many good things. It was great when I got the opportunity to play it some years ago, but I'm pacing myself. I'm taking my time. There's still 83 days to go. But it's also because I love a little bit of chaos and I want to call back to my days in school. Basically, before I sit down to play Cities Skylines, I'm going to take a couple of days to watch every single dev diary, every single feature breakdown, and go through absolutely every piece of pre-release material for that game that has been put out there. And yes, I'm probably going to do some videos on all of that stuff. And yes, I know that by the time I get around to doing that, just about everybody else will have broken down the dev diaries. I'm fine with that. I'm just excited to play the game and look at it and learn about it. I'm not really, I'll be honest with you, I appreciate people that watch what I do on YouTube. Obviously, this is my job and has been for a long time. And yes, the business aspect would be to capitalize on the views. I'm just really excited about the game. I love this one. I love Cities Skylines 1, but man, the traffic AI in here is starting to show its age, as well as a few other things, but mostly the traffic AI. Now, in the last episode, we were supposed to be building a campus, and we didn't because I got slightly distracted by this. I built a farm, and it is effective. It does what I wanted it to do. It moved my farming industry away from the middle of my city, and it gave us some space to build some things. But now I want to build a campus, and I've already gone ahead and changed a few things about this area up here. I've got some paths around here. I've got some metro stations up here as well, and those are connected down this way, just like so. So there is a lot of metro access for what is going to be our university campus. And what I'm wanting to do, or what I was wanting to do, was use the Liberal Arts College campus area because these buildings have these beautiful red rooftops on them, and that would stand out against all of the gray and white and concrete of these super modern buildings. The thing is, and I'm going to show you this, as much as I like this building, as cool as it is, the front of it's a little flat. I mean, it's kind of supposed to be, but it kind of looks more like a church than a college. And I don't love how it looks. So we're going to be getting rid of that. And instead, I'm just going to go for the university because this building right here looks kind of fantastic. And it also has the benefit of some nice colorful rooftops that are still going to stand out against everything else. And what's more is a lot of the buildings in here. Now, admittedly, we've used the university before, so you might be familiar with these buildings, but they're red brick buildings. So they're still going to stand out. They're still going to look cool. They're still going to look interesting. And that's sort of what I'm looking for. I've also used the amusement park paths around here. I know that they don't really connect nicely. They have this dirt at the end, and I don't love that. But I love the color of them. I think they look kind of great. Although I'm curious to see if I was to do this. Ooh, I think I'm going to do that. That way we do have the proper concrete connections to the street, and we still have the nice red sort of cobblestones within the campus area itself. I just wanted that color. I like that we have these bus lanes going around here. I did downgrade this road to a smaller type of avenue. I think the bus lanes are kind of cool. And speaking of buses, actually, I've been a little bit busy with those as well. You might have noticed already, we have some buses going around here. That's because between episodes, I built a bunch of new bus lines. If we go into here and sort by name, I built, let's see here, I think all of these guys. So from 20 to 26. And those are mostly or entirely in this space over here. So everything that we've built over the course of the last few episodes now has buses going around. The buses are relatively popular and relatively successful. And I also went down the line and got rid of almost all of the articulated buses, because the super articulated buses or the super bendy buses are huge. They are absolutely enormous, and they were taking up so much space on the roads and causing so many of our traffic problems. They're not the sole cause of the traffic problems, but they definitely weren't helping. I also, one of those lines, I also had it loop around everything. So if we sort of just turn all of these off and then turn on that one white line, you can sort of see where it goes. So it comes down here, it goes through this space, across here, up to here. It loops around all of that new space and comes straight back. Very similarly to what we did with bus line 1, which it's kind of hard to see bus line 1, but you can kind of see it in there. It loops down around all of this. It goes up to here and just does what I need it to do. So we have a couple of bus lines that can get you to just about anywhere, and that's sort of what we're looking for. And then we have bus lines going around all of these districts, as well as the metro stations. I'm hoping that using the buses in the metro will reduce traffic just a little bit, because if we have a look at our traffic, it is at 76%. It was at 72 just before I hit the record button. So hopefully things are improving, but we're not going to worry too much about that right now, because my priority is very much going to be on this this campus area. So let's get some pipes around here so that everything has a nice supply of water. And then with that done, we now have a few university buildings that we need to place. We have the dormitory, we have the study hall, we have the groundskeeping building, and we have the futsal club. We don't have anything else. Well, actually, do we have anything else? We do, actually. We have the School of Law. We might need to circle back to that. But first, I want to deal with dormitories. I want to deal with the study hall and the other buildings as well, because my goal here is to level this thing up as quickly as possible. And to do that, we need 2 academic works. So first things first, we're going to go in here and we are going to give them $50,000 for a dissertation. And that's going to be good. We're also going to look at policies. We are going to give them free healthcare, which is going to increase student health. And also it's going to increase the cost of the campus by $5 per student. That's not good. Free lunches will increase student happiness. It's an extra $1 per student. That's fine. Visiting scholars will bring in visiting scholars, increasing the faculty bonus by 25% and increasing the upkeep by 25%. Again, I'm going to do it because it's worthwhile. And then universal education is free education. As much as I am in favor of people getting educated, I'm running a city here. I kind of need to make some money. Unfortunately, we're not doing that one. So we've given them money for an academic work. We need 500 students. We need 200 attractiveness. Let's go ahead and figure out what buildings are going where. And first things first, we need to make sure that there's room for the students. So I'm actually going to expand the campus area just along this road right here. And I'm also going to just tidy it up in between these guys because I don't love how that's looking right there. So I'm expanding it there because what I can do is just flatten a little bit of this terrain. So right about here, we're going to just bring this out. I'm not really too concerned about, you know, how ridiculous this is going to look right now, because I am going to tidy it up. I'm going to make it look the part, but I want to bring this right out a little bit, bring it right out over there as well. And my thinking is that's kind of where dormitories can go. So we can do a dorm right about there. We can do a dorm right about there as well. And we can get one right in the middle, nicely between these guys. So right about, I want to say there. And that gives us a few nice, you know, red brick buildings. It would probably look okay to have these guys a little closer together, but I'm going to give them that distance because I think it just looks kind of cool. Although in saying that, I almost wonder if it would make more sense to have just a single tile between them rather than the 2 tiles between them. We can do these paths in between them as well. And I think what I'll also do is actually use the university path with some trees on it, so we can do a little bit of landscaping. I think that actually will look a little bit better. So I'm going to push this guy to about there, and I'm going to move this guy to about, is this going to line up? I think it is right about there. And that should, and absolutely does, let me get a path on this side, and it lets me get a path over here as well. So people can walk around the dormitories. We've got some landscaping baked in with the paths as well, which is what I'm looking for. And the reason I wanted to flatten this space is because I kind of want to see if I can get a little path that comes down a little something like this. So we can do like a little park in here. We can have a little social space. And I was going to do the same up here, That's why I wanted to extend this space out. But I think what I might do instead is, let's see, what distance are you? 120. So if I wanted 120, that's 80. I think 120 would be about there, right? So that's plus 40. Yeah, so that's the same size. My thinking is that I can do something like this, and then maybe this is where groundskeeping can go. We can do it in this corner, so it's a little bit out of the way, but it's not so far out of the way that, you know, it's an afterthought. And then if I wanted to, I could bring this path down. I could outline this entire space, which I actually kind of want to do. I think that might look kind of cool. Just having this path go around the entire space to give it a little bit more of a border between the buildings and the cliff tops. So we'll do exactly that. We'll just not really be too concerned about what we're doing with the terrain right now, because I can fix it later. It's not really the end of the world. And I suppose looking at this, we're what, about 2 tiles back from everything? So let's give this a shot. So 140, that's interesting. That's not what I'm looking for. I was looking kind of 120. This might not actually line up as nicely as I was hoping it would, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we'll see. What about 120 here? So that's 100 there. That's 120. Let's go for the 120. We'll do this. Let's go for the 120 here. Do they line up? They absolutely do. And so now I just need to find the radius of this corner, or I can just have a sharp edge on this. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, I suppose. So if I did this, yeah, that's going to be an interesting size. Although these guys are also kind of going to go. So I suppose what we'll do is we'll try and get just a gentle little curve in here. So something kind of like that. Something kind of like that. Take these guys out and we'll do exactly this right here. We'll just get that to line up with the guidelines. There we go. I think that looks fine. And I do like the idea of having some paths that connect out like this so that you can technically walk from this place over here and, you know, be about your business. And for now, I'm just going to leave that be. We'll extend it eventually. In fact, I will leave this guy here as a reminder that we're going to extend this. But for the time being, that gives us a nice little border on the district, and I like that a lot. I'm also going to swap out these trees for the generic pine trees. I know they're a little bit large, but I absolutely adore these things, and I think they have exactly the right vibe that I'm looking for this entire space. They're just a little bit wild looking. They have a really nice color to them, and I think that nice deep green contrasts the red brick on these buildings nicely as well. Now, admittedly, a lot of these buildings do have trees baked in, and they are base game trees. They came with City Skylines. I don't love that I can't change those. I would love to be able to do that. It would be really, really cool to be able to do that, but we'll work with what we have. Maybe the perimeter on this place uses the generic pine trees, and then the landscaping we do in the district itself, maybe that's going to be some base game trees. I'm also thinking that I might have to change this road because, well, is this going to be too much? Is that is that a little bit too much? Let's change it all up and take a look at it. It might be. This definitely stands a chance of being a little bit extra. You know what? I'm going to keep it for now. I'm going to keep it for now. I think we're going to have to swap it out though, because my plan was to put some trees in those spaces right there. So that's going to be way too much. In fact, I can already see that these guys are clustered together all weirdly. So you know what? Let's just change the road. And yeah, that is much better. That's going to look a lot better when we have trees lining this space as well. So let's go ahead and figure out what the rest of the buildings are going to look like in here. Like I said, we do need to get groundskeeping, and I think this space back here would be perfect for it. Annoyingly, I can't place it on the inside of this curve. I can't place it on that curve. I can place it sort of here, which is not exactly where I was hoping to put it. I could put it there if I was to extend the campus area though. So let's just push the campus back a little bit, something like this, and let's get an idea of what that would look like if I put it right about there. I actually don't mind that. It looks terrifying. I think it would be terrifying to live there, but I'm going to just keep it nicely out of the way, and that's how that's going to be. So that's going to be groundskeeping. And then I suppose we need to figure out where the study holes are going to go. Now, these guys actually don't look too bad. They're not bad looking buildings at all, but I might just do a couple of them over here. I think I want to get 2 of them, and I want to see if I can get one right about there. And can I get another one right about here. And do they look okay? No, because this one's higher up on a hill and this one's lower down. Damn. That's a bit of a shame. I didn't realize I hadn't flattened this space, but I mean, at the same time, that is probably fair enough. That's kind of how these things work, right? I can't flatten absolutely everything out the way well, I say that and I've just flattened these cliffs, but you know what I mean? I shouldn't be flattening absolutely everything. It's a little unrealistic. I suppose the other option would be to move the study halls to this kind of space. If I could get it next to, if I could get it on the ends of these roads, that might look kind of interesting. Although I think on this side, it's going to clip into my path over there, unfortunately. But I suppose something like this looks okay. It is a little odd having these buildings like this. It's a bit odd having, you know, this big, elegant building with the pillars and then these red brick things either side. But I don't hate it. So I'm going to make it work. And what I'm going to do as well is grab this guy and just bring a path straight over here and a path straight over here. And again, it doesn't connect nicely to the roads. So I think we're going to swap that out. I think we'll actually go in and swap it out for the campus path. And that does connect to the road, which is kind of what we're looking for. I'm also going to do this little connection down here and this little connection up here, just so we're kind of matching what we've done in all of those corners so people can kind of get around really nicely. And maybe we have this entire space just be that type of path. And then the other side can maybe maintain the red brick or the red cobbles. I don't know. The more I look at it, the more it's sort of standing out to me in a weird way. And I think we might want to just introduce detailing with trees and landscaping versus the paths, but we'll figure that out is what we'll do. I'm also kind of wondering, can I bring a path down here and have it line up with the campus itself? I don't think I can. I can bring a path out here, but I can't bring one out oh wait, no, hold on a minute. I can take one out there. Can I connect these guys together? Is that going to be, that is an option. Ooh. I mean, it has a tree in it, which is not ideal, but it's a connection. And it's a connection we wouldn't otherwise have. Can I do this as well? I mean, yes, but it's going to look interesting. Huh. I don't hate the idea of doing this. I'm going to be honest. I also wonder if I was to do this and this, is it going to let me do that? I think it might. Yeah, it's going to let me do that. So I can have that cut across. I could have this run up to there. And I guess I can have this come in here as well. So that's another little connection, which means that could probably go away. No, that was probably necessary for people to come in here and get straight across. So we'll actually go ahead and keep this path. It's a bit messy. It's a little bit chaotic, but I don't dislike this. This gives us another little space where we can maybe do some kind of park, some little, you know, space for the students to sit and chill. So I'm okay with that. Although I will say, do we have room for the futsal club? We do. Okay. Is it going to look stupid back here? A little bit. It does look a little bit dumb back there, but we kind of need the campus attractiveness. So we'll take a look at it. We are 391 on students, 230 on attractiveness, no academic works. We're completely unrecognized, but we're not even halfway through the first academic year. So I think we're all right. I think we'll manage. And let's not forget that we have the School of Law that can go in here. So this guy is a pretty chunky building. It's also a pretty expensive building, but if I put it right about there, it's not bad looking. I mean, it's admittedly in the shadows, but it's not a bad looking building at all. It's on a bit of a different grid to everything else. And so it has its own little space. And I think what I'm going to do is actually try and bring a little path down here. Now, nothing latches onto this. So if I was to come down this way and I was to come down sort of this way, can I connect some paths together? I absolutely can. I'm going to go straight across here as well. And so that gives us a nice footprint for this guy. And I guess now that we don't have anything else to place around here, at least at the moment, we could probably do just a little pass at some landscaping. Nothing crazy. Well, actually, no. You know what the phrase I have to say is? Because I'm tempted to put this on a shirt. I'm tempted to make two shirts, actually. I'm tempted to make one shirt that says nothing too crazy and another shirt that says nothing too fancy. Because I swear that's become the new it is what it is. All right? And if you know, you know. That was a whole thing a few years ago. So I'm tempted to do that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I don't know if it would be, I don't know why anyone's going to wear a shirt that says nothing too crazy or another shirt that says nothing too fancy. It almost seems self-deprecating, but I don't know. I'd wear it. I'm just saying. Anyway, let me do this landscaping pass. And I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to stick with my generic pine trees. I really love how they look in all of this space down here. I'm a really, really big fan of pine trees amongst modern architecture. So we're going to give it a shot, despite the fact that this place has not got generic pine trees on it. Oh, you know what? I have to say, I think the generic pine trees might have been the right call. They're a really nice contrasting color between the red brick and even the blue rooftops. Like I said before, I think they're pretty solid. I think they're pretty solid. I think the pink trees in the corners was a good shot as well. I'm really pleased with this. Obviously, it has a long way to go. It needs a lot more work, but I think this is a solid start. And we also just completed our first academic year, which is pretty big news. So we're going to give them more money for another dissertation. So we do get a guaranteed second academic work at the end of this year. And we also need to figure out a way to get more students in here so that we do in fact level up. So the first thing I'm going to do is get myself one of these guys, a little park plaza, and I'm going to put it right about here. Not because I think we need it, but just because I need the power to jump over to this guy. And that's just a quick and easy way to do that for now. And what I'm also wanting to do is actually go over here and do a little smidge more detailing, because I really like the idea of trying to have my paths line up with sort of like these doors here, and these doors here. So to do that, I'm going to have to play around a little bit, but I'm going to try a little something. So we're going to just take out all of that, and we're going to bring this guy over. I'm going to turn off grids and road lengths, and I want to try and get this to be roughly right in the middle, which I think that is. So something like that. Is that in the middle? That's about as close to as I think I'm going to get it. This guy is going to be sort of a similar story. So that looks like it's roughly the middle. I can actually go a little bit further over. I just deleted that. Didn't want to, but that's all right. A little further over like this. And that looks like it's roughly the middle. And same thing here, right to about there and down to about there. That looks roughly like the middle. And we'll just connect these guys over. And that just gives us a little something. You know, it just gives us a little something to work with, a little something to play with. And I kind of like that as a bit of detail. I am thinking, though, we're going to have to go ahead and just change out all of these paths for the actual campus ones, because the red, I love it. I really do. But the dirt ends on it are really not doing me any favors. They're just looking a little bit silly. So we'll go ahead and replace all of that red cobblestone. And it leaves us with this. And I think this is good. This kind of looks the way I think it should. I am going to try and just get another generic pine tree in here. So I want to get you right about there. And we'll see if we can't just get these guys to look like they were always supposed to be like this. So something like that looks all right. These spaces in front here, I think what we'll do is maybe swap out for a different tree. Maybe like a large oak tree in either plot right there. I think that's kind of cool. Makes things a little bit different. And it means I can put a large oak tree down here and have it sort of all tie together, because we have the two out front, we have the one at the back. And could I also squeeze a little bit of color in there? I think I could. I can do a couple of little bushes like this around here, and then just a little tiny hint of pink right there, and a little tiny hint of pink right about there. And I think that's lovely. So that's good. This whole thing is functional. We've got all these cool looking buildings. We got this guy working. We just need a few more students. We're at 382 out of 500. I'm not really too sure how I'm going to attract more students to it, but the capacity is 2,750. And if we look at the city right now, we have 8,449 eligible. So I think hopefully public transport will do a number on getting people over to the campus. Oh, and just like that, we have enough students and we have the attractiveness. So now we're just waiting for the end of the academic year. So let's do a little bit more landscaping. We're not going to go nuts. I'm not going to do a whole lot, but I do want to get some fences here. And I really do enjoy using the forestry fence alongside these buildings. So we're going to turn off grid snapping. We're going to go to about here. And I'm going to try and just bring a fence that sort of goes pretty much the entire way along this path so that we don't have the path open to the cliff. That seems like it would be a pretty bad idea. So I think right about there for this guy, we can head all the way down here and go to about this spot and bring something straight down. So we'll go all the way down. Is that about in line? I think it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm really not too concerned about, you know, getting perfection here. So we'll do this so that we have a path, you know, a fence going along all of this path. And then I'm just going to bring this up to somewhere here. Roughly, let's say, can I get this to line up? Can I get this to line up in a way that's going to be satisfying? Not really. What if I was to go from here instead and do this? That's really about the same thing. Let's do, I guess we'll outline this building. I was going to try and avoid outlining this building, but I guess it's probably going to make sense. We'll do this. And again, I don't think this is going to be any different. I think it's going to look just about the same as it otherwise would. So we'll leave that be for now. And I guess we'll just bring, oh, that's actually not going far enough back. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll turn off, we've got road length turned off. So we'll bring this back to here. We'll bring it across and need to bring it across a little bit further, apparently. So let's refund you. Let's bring you to about there. And then we'll bring you straight down to, I guess, about there. And I really don't like how this bit looks in the slightest. So I almost wonder, would it be better to just bring that straight across and do a little bit of landscaping in that corner? And oh! Well, this was unexpected. We have airports. We have 55,000 people. Interesting. Ooh. Suddenly, I'm kind of excited about what we can do here. Let me do a generic pine tree here. Let me do one of the slightly larger pine trees in that. Actually, you know what? No, let's not do that. Let's do a little bit of color in that corner. And let's do a young linden there, and there. Maybe one sort of down the side as well. And I think that looks okay. Right. So the reason 55,000 people is particularly exciting to me is it means I can get this tile down here, which means I can technically change this road to follow the curvature of the river. I just don't know if, wait, what's going on here? Why do you guys have sewage problems? Sewage backing up is, sewage is actually a problem. Okay. We can deal with that in just a second. Let me have a look at my tiles. You know, I'm realizing this tile is pretty much useless to me, which is making me wonder if I'm even going to bother getting it. Because here's the thing. I'm realizing, here's the thing. We don't have that much space to play with. We still have an airport to build, and we did just unlock the generic little airports, but we don't necessarily have, if I build my industry down here, this sort of plateau is about the only place that we could look to build an airport district, right? That's going to make things really, really interesting. That's, ooh, that might be a bit of a problem. All right. I suddenly don't know if I want this tile because we have that road doing just fine as it is. But I also don't know what tile I would go for. I think I'm just going to stick to my plan. I'm going to get that tile. I think we're just going to... Oh, man. I don't have room for suburbs either. Oh, man. Don't get me wrong. I keenly remember the number of comments that said getting the 81 tiles mod is perfectly fine. And I'm keeping that in mind because I'm going to stick to my guns on no mods whatsoever for at least... I mean, we've done 15 episodes with no mods. I'm at least doing another 15. We're getting to part 30 with no mods, and then maybe we'll do 81 tiles. We'll see what we can fit into this space. I really like the idea of sticking to this challenge, but it's going to be tricky. It's going to be a little bit tricky. Anyway, I want to go ahead and turn this into an actual little social space. So let's just do some kind of plaza here. I think we'll do this guy because it looks kind of neat. And I want to have this also be a little bit of a social space. So what we could do is put something like this restaurant back here. This little park cafe, I think looks pretty good. I'm actually going to move it along just a little bit to there. And I wish it connected to the road better. I really do. That's slightly disappointing. I could put it there. That would absolutely work, but it's going to get rid of my path and I don't want to do that. So, man, maybe... Maybe we get rid of you. Maybe we go for the other plaza because I think it's smaller. It absolutely is. So we'll do this plaza right in that corner. We'll move this guy down by a single tile to about there. It connects decently. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. These trees also kind of match the area better as well, I think. And then what we can do is just a little bit of landscaping. I think using some different trees so it looks a little bit more distinct. So we'll do like a nice, can I get one of the big oak trees in here? Is there a bigger one than what I've seen? There's the one I'm looking for. So right about there, nice big oak tree. And I think down here, maybe one of these guys. And then I'm going to dot a couple of young lindens in here just as like smaller, younger trees or something like that. This space, I think we'll just block off this a little bit with a few bushes. And I might actually just do that around the edges of this in general. So we have the fence kind of going around the absolute perimeter of the space. And then the rest of it's just kind of bushes and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it does mean I'm going to have to leave a bit of a gap where the avenue doesn't play nicely with bushes, but that's fine. It looks okay. It's not the end of the world. And I like this. Again, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, but a little bit of color. Maybe one more of these guys sort of back about there. And maybe one or two of these guys just to sort of tie it all together. Actually, you know what? I don't like those in there. Let me go for another one of these guys and another one right about there. And then I think we'll just do some of these sort of little bushes kind of around to tie it all together as well. And I like to pair these things with some of these pink, what are these called? Rhododendrons. I like to pair it with these guys so we just get a little bit more color in there. And I think that's okay. A little bit overgrown maybe, but I think that's okay. You know, I've got to be honest, I was considering expanding the city a little bit to get us up to 55,000 people. I wasn't expecting to get it just sort of randomly. But now, if we want to get ourselves, I guess, the international airport and all of this good stuff, we need 70,000 people. Do we have airport districts now? Is that a thing we do? Interesting. When do you actually get airport areas? Did that come with 55,000 people as well? New services, plane, airports. I've genuinely got no clue if or when we unlocked that. I guess it doesn't really matter. We have one more goal, which gives us monuments. We need, considerably more people, but we can get there. I'm pretty sure we can get there. I think what I'll do is I will just go ahead and expand the city a little bit more. We have this space here to play with. I mean, it's not going to be great in terms of this corner, but that's fine. I'm also thinking that if I wanted to, I could bring this over a little bit and potentially under the highway. Yeah, I can absolutely do that, which again is going to mess with the zoning and some of these roads, but it lets us come into this space, which I think is going to be for the best. So I'm going to punch a road straight down there. And I don't love the idea coming off of here because this four-way intersection is already giving us some problems. But I think we're going to have to because I don't want to come off of here. So we'll push this straight through. And then what I can do to make this zoning behave a little bit better is I can go like this. So the zoning and the grids are all going to line up in this space. They line up in this space. They don't line up in this space. But that's fine. That's not necessarily the end of the world. And that is a lot more room for zoning. It also gives us this whole space to deal with, which is going to be interesting. So we'll take this guy out. We could come straight through here as well if we wanted to, which honestly, I'm not really against doing. I think we'll use that is going to mess with, that is going to mess with the zoning though, isn't it? Let's take you out of there and let's do this. So we get that nice corner on there. And then for the rest of this, I think what we might do is just take that back, bring it straight over, bring you straight up to there. And so that's going to give us two weird corners, but the rest of this lines up kind of nicely. And that's what I'm looking for. I want things to behave all nice like. And you know what? Since we have this pretty elegant looking building right here as the administration building for the university, I'm thinking we could do something similar in this space over here with something like the courthouse, which I think would look kind of neat in that spot. Now that's got 7 on one side, it's got 6 on the other. It's not going to go central in this road, which always pains me, but I do think it's a pretty good looking building. It's definitely not bad looking, but I don't know what I'd put around it. That's my concern. I am wanting to build this space for some zoning, not just for aesthetics. So what else have we got? Would I maybe want to go for something like a grand mall instead? Because I could do parking lots around a grand mall. We do also have some actual malls that I can place, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember what category they're in. They might be in here. But we do have some really, really chunky buildings that we could play around with. We've also got these guys that I still need to play around with as well. We've still got the skyscrapers. I was thinking of building a some kind of skyline up this way, but apparently I've given up on that. I guess we have this. I mean, what exactly is this? It's a modern tourist center. This guy is a Korean game distribution and development company. That's pretty cool looking. We've got an entertainment agency. It's a pretty small looking building. This is what I'm looking for here. We have these medium grocery stores. We have a large grocery store. We have an open air mall, which honestly might be really cool by the university. That might be a really cool little thing. We have an open air mall phase 2 as well. Let's play around with those and see what exactly they look like. So we have this one right here. We have this one right here. I have no idea what way these are supposed to go together. But that's our phase 2. Oh, they connect together. I mean, they don't technically, but they look really cool. I like those a lot. I really do. I don't love that they're on a bit of a hill, but I can make that work. And honestly, I think what I want to do is sort of embed these guys in the middle of a district with some normal zoning around the outside. So let's figure out these corners because they're going to be slightly screwy. And then what we want to do is figure out the road where the moles are going to go. So I'm going to say here, I'm going to take this chance and say that we're going to do this basically, which again messes with the zoning, but I'm not super concerned about that. In fact, what I think I'll do is continue that straight through there, take this one out, and we'll just have all of our zoning that's weird be at the top end here. And again, this is on a hill. This is on a hill, so these moles aren't going to line up all too nicely, but we can just embed them right in the middle of this space. Now, they do annoyingly have some noise pollution. They also have some entertainment value. And I'm also noticing that this one, I mean, it doesn't really loop around. It does have a weird kind of back to it, which is fair enough. Let's have a look at the phase 1 part of it, which goes right about there. So yeah, these guys kind of need to be in a very specific order. So technically we want to do, which one? This is phase, wait, which one is this? This is open air mall. And then this is open air mall phase 2. So yeah, that looks like they sort of connect together when they really don't. But I'm okay with that. I might just have to flatten the terrain to make this look the part though. So I think this is fine. We'll keep the open air mall in the middle. And then we have things like this contemporary department store, which I'm debating whether or not I just use a bunch of the mall buildings in here to create just a really chunky shopping space. But none of these are going to be all that colorful. And I was kind of hoping to do some wall-to-wall buildings. We also have a more traditional department store here. We have this guy, which is a shopping plaza. Which, I mean, if we take a look at this, would it fit here? It kind of does. It's a little meh. I don't love that. I don't think it would fit kind of in this space. We have this guy though, the Mall of Marvels. It's definitely a bit bigger, is what it is. It's enormous actually. I've never seen this thing either. I feel like this should be out in the middle of nowhere though. I don't think it's something that's going to go in the middle of a city. So we'll kind of just leave this as is. Let's just paint a little district in here and just get some growth going. So just a little something like this. We'll bring it down and around. We'll get it all onto all of the roads, filling up the entire space, and then just take it off the avenues because we're going to do an old town policy as per usual. So Oriental Heights, style is going to be whatever. Policies will be old town. And I guess we want to zone this with probably a combination of commercial and office space is what I'm thinking. So we'll fill all of this for now. This whole bit up here is going to be, it's going to be annoying, honestly. I think what I might just do is disable zoning on this top road so that things are a little bit less annoying. Admittedly, that means I'm going to have to fill this space with something else, but I can probably do that. So if I was to just bring you through to, actually, if I do this and I do this and then just turn zoning back off on those roads, That should give us a decent use of the space. It absolutely does. And it gives me some room for some decorations along the road, which I'm totally fine with. This also gives us space for some paths around here so people can walk around the space, which I think is going to be good. So let's go ahead and just get some detailing in here. Let's just go ahead and very quickly try and get ourselves some paths through here. And I'm not going to go right to, I'm not going to go right down here because I want some nice corner buildings in here and I don't want these bits to be weird. So we'll leave some gaps of 4 just here. So this is 4, this is 4. That should give us some nice buildings to play with. We can go straight across through there and that'll let people get around. And then in this space, well, I think this one is going to be just straight through here. So road lengths and grid can be off. So straight to there. This isn't going to have anything. And this one, I'm really not too sure on this one either. Maybe this one is going to be a case of going, you know, from right about here, right down to about there. And I think that'll be fine. Again, gives me space to play with. And I think that's actually where I'm going to put my, my offices for this entire space. So we'll get our district specialization. We'll say wall to wall and same for commercial. And hopefully this is going to look interesting. It's definitely going to need some pipes though, which I totally forgot to build. Actually, you know what I'm going to do with this space? I'm going to go ahead and put a high capacity high school in right about there. And I'm doing that for 2 reasons. Number 1, we do have demand for more high schools. And number 2, it bridges the gap and gives us power into this space, which is absolutely fantastic. I can also just go ahead and tweak this path a little bit. And what I'm going to do is bring this guy straight down. I know I said I wasn't going to do that, but I'm going to do it. And I'm also going to do this right through here. So that's going to give me some space in there for some trees, which I think is going to look pretty good. I do need all of the buildings to build first, but that is going to deal with some of the demand that we have for high school education. And it gives us these really colorful bricks on this corner, which I think looks fantastic. And on top of all of that, we now have a recognized 2-star university. So let's give them more money for more academic works. We just need 1 more. We need a lot more students and we need a lot more attractiveness, but that's okay because we now have more things that we can build. We can build the gymnasium. We can build the cafeteria. We can build the fountain. And the fountain, I'm kind of hoping I can fit in here, which, yeah, unfortunately, not in a particularly satisfying way. That's kind of annoying. I might have to do that anyway, though, which means I might have to move the futsal club because I do like the idea of getting a fountain in there. But let's take a look at the other things we have. So we have the gymnasium. We have the cafeteria. Can I get the cafeteria over here? I can, but I'd have to get rid of that path. Can I get the gym over there? Again, would have to get rid of the path. I might just have to put an extra little bit of path in there, is what I'm thinking. So I might have to do this, and then we can use that little extra section for something like the cafeteria or probably the gymnasium here. So that's, I think, what we'll do. We'll put it there. And I think that looks okay. I don't love that it has parking lots, but that's fine, I guess. And then the cafeteria, can it actually go down here? Again, not without getting rid of a section of path, which is unfortunate. I don't want to get rid of parts of my path. I guess I could put it in here, but I didn't need 2 of them. But that does feel like I'm sort of cramming buildings together when I don't really need to. Although I wonder, what's the actual distance between these guys? Is it just a single? It is about a single tile, isn't it? Interesting. I guess they do have a pretty good footprint on some sides. Like this has about a tile, about a unit worth of space around the side. This has about 1 at the back. I feel like the cafeteria, I feel like 2 of them would kind of make sense. Can I get 1 in here by any chance? No. It is a lot bigger than I'm giving it credit for. This cafeteria. All right. Same with the Fountain Plaza. Honestly, all of the things for this university are a little chunkier than I'm giving them credit for. Oh, I totally glanced over the outdoor study that's available. My only concern with this thing is it's pretty chunky and it doesn't conform to the terrain. So I don't think we're going to use it. I don't think we're going to use that at all. I also decided to move the cafeteria over here because I realized it kind of looks all right about there. It's a bit of a smaller building and it gave me this space to have the gymnasium with the Fountain Plaza. And I think that looks all right. We got some detailing around. I got some trees. Just looks like a nice little pleasant space next to the School of Law. Now, if we look at the university, the attractiveness still isn't necessarily where I'd want it to be. So we might need to do a little something about that. I'm just not really too sure what I can do about that. I might just need to add more dormitories. It might be a case of more study halls. It might be a case of needing the outdoor study. If I add that here, it actually doesn't really push it up by much. 435 on attractiveness right now. And then without that, it is 410. So it does add 25. So maybe it would be worth it. But I think for now, we'll hold off. And I'm not really going to be too concerned about leveling this thing up super quickly anyway. I like the idea of sort of coming back to it. Although in saying that, I have got this space. Let's just double check. Do dormitories add any attractiveness to a campus? So I can get a dormitory, you know, right about here. We can go ahead and do a little section of path, you know, right down through here. So we'll do grid snapping up to there. We'll look at another dormitory going right about into that space. So another little bit of a path here, and one more dormitory right about there. Now, does that do much in the way of attractiveness for the campus? It does. And I think that's what we'll do. Although I think what I'm going to do is space these out slightly differently. So I'm going to get one right about here. I think that's the space for it. And we'll do our path in between them as we have done. So right here, we'll do another dormitory just next to it right here, and another path right about here. And that gives us this space in the middle to play with, which I'm kind of okay with. We can also go ahead and just get our trees as per usual on all of these new sections of path. So something a bit like this. And then in the middle, I mean, I might just do a nice large couple of oak trees or something like that. I might even go so far as to say that these sections of path are maybe not going to have trees on them. And then what I can do is go in there with just a little bit of detailing. We'll do some bushes. We'll do some nice things just to make it a little bit more colorful. And I think that's kind of what we'll do with it. So we'll do a little bit of this in that corner. We'll do a little bit just here. A little bit right about there. Get a little bit of these rhododendrons on there because I do like that shade of pink. We'll get it sort of in all of the corners. Maybe a linden there and a linden there as well. And you know what? Just a little bit of this in that corner as well. And I think I'm kind of okay with that. Maybe just a little color down by the road. Something like that does the job. And it just fills the space. So that gives us more dormitories, which is more student capacity. It also gives us more campus attractiveness, which is absolutely what we needed. We're now at 510 out of 450. We're almost at 800 students, and we're guaranteed another academic work in no time at all. So this might actually level up pretty quickly. Oh, come on. You would catch on fire, wouldn't you? Now, I'm pretty sure we can deal with this. I think we can. Did I get fire helicopters? I did get emergency helicopters. So we do have one helicopter in use, which is good. So hopefully that's going to put out this fire because there's no way out to the university groundskeeping. There's no way that any trucks are getting out there. Although if I remember right, don't the fire helicopters have to go and pick up the water and then put out the fire? Oh boy. I get the feeling this thing might burn down. I don't. Oh, wait, no, there he is. Oh, you might be just in time. I don't think it's actually going to collapse, which is good. That didn't put the fire out though. That's, it's still very much burning. Oh no. He's got to go all the way down there to get more water as well. All right. That might be a problem. That definitely might be a problem. What's not a problem though, is that I've made some changes around here. Obviously we've got these new dormitories, but I decided to add another one here and then move the cafeteria down and just extend this space into a bit more of a little park. And I love how this looks. I really do. This feels like a really nice little area, and it just became a 3-star university. Now, leveling this up again is going to take some time. We need a lot more students and a lot more attractiveness, but I'm curious to see what we've unlocked now. We have the library, we have the math club, we have the commencement office, and we have the academic statue. Now, the library is a really cool looking building, and I think it needs to live right down here, right by a main road, so that everybody can see how cool of a building it is. The only problem is that the terrain doesn't play nicely, so let's see if we can do a little something about that. Let me just grab this corner right here, make my brush a little bit smaller, and we're just going to flatten this terrain for a second. Now, yes, this is going to look a little bit nasty for a second here, but that's okay, because my thinking is that we go and we grab ourselves this path again. We extend it over. So now we have a nice, flat section of path right there. We do the same thing here, and then we put the library on it. So we're going to have a really nice sort of platform for the library to sit on, which is only messing with a little bit of terrain at the back, which is totally fine. And then what we can do is basically take out pretty much all of these sections of path for the time being. And then if I just extend the path out to about as far as it needs to go, so give me grid snapping to about there and to about there, what I can now do is get my slope terrain tool. We want to start here and end there and just slope up to the path. And then the same thing on this side as well, which is going to be a little bit steeper, but that's okay. So we do this, and then let's see, just take out those sections. And in theory, we can just run a nice straight section of path there and there. And that doesn't look too bad. That doesn't look too bad at all. It gives us a nice library right in that corner where it should be. And I'm also tempted to say that we take out those two trees, we go back in here and we do something like this and something like this. So we have those paths going right up to the library. And in front of it, I'm kind of wondering, can I get any miscellaneous details? Ooh, we also have a School of Medicine, which is enormous. It would have looked really cool in here, but I'm going to stick with the library. I might just have to expand. Maybe we sort of expand the campus into this space, because the School of Medicine actually would genuinely look really cool right there with the highway next to it. I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to expand the campus into this space, and that's how it's going to work. Because the School of Medicine also looks like a much more modern building. Right? It looks like it was built in like the late 70s, early 80s. It's very, very blocky and whatnot. It looks kind of similar to a building I went to school in. So I think that's what we'll do. But before we do that, can I have a little look at the commencement office? So it's going to be this size. Oh man, we might have to build up into this space as well. I don't know. I've gotten a little bit carried away with, the different shapes and whatnot here, but I like the library. So that's totally fine for now. It also has power, so that's fine. Let's just do this expansion. I think this will be kind of cool. I also realize I don't need to take the university off of roads, so we'll keep it on some roads there. And let's do this. Let's get the School of Medicine. It's that end that has the tower. So would it look better having the tower in that corner? Does that look okay? I don't dislike it. But what I'm realizing is that in theory, I could probably put it right in the middle of this block, and that's going to give me some space around the edges to do paths and detailing and things like that. I definitely don't think I want to put it right down into this corner. I think that's going to mess with the terrain a little too much, but we'll take a look. Yeah. All right, you know what? We are going to push it into this corner over here. I think that's going to look a little bit better. So right about there for the School of Medicine. I think that looks the part. I would like to get some detailing down the sides, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So this is fine. And it also doesn't mess with the terrain as much. I'm pretty sure I can probably smooth this out. And if not, I can just put some buildings in here. And yeah, there we go. That looks fine. And as weird as it might be having a part of the university just way over here, I like how this has turned out. We've got some parking next to it, which admittedly, that's nowhere near enough parking for this building on its own, let alone the rest of the university, but it's just a way to fill up the space. And so I figured that was probably fair enough. I also put some trees behind it just to fill in that space because there's not really much else to do with that space. And I like this. I really do. Now, looking at the university overall, the attractiveness is going to need to be much, much higher. The students needs to be much higher. The academic work is going to take a while. And the capacity is 5,650. So this has pretty much done what I wanted it to do. It has served its purpose already, and it's still got 2 more levels to go. So this is good. This is progress. This is what I wanted. And I think we can probably just say that the university for now is done. I'm not really in any rush to level it up further. I know I said that earlier, but I then looked at it and saw it was super close to leveling up again. It isn't. It's going to take a while to level up to level 4. So this is good for the time being. What I would like to do, though, is just boost the population a little bit. So I'm going to come into this space, and part of me's tempted to make this another pedestrian zone. I do like the idea of having a few more pedestrian zones on this side of the city. Because obviously, we have these ones down here, and I think they look pretty cool. So I might just do sort of a cheap little lazy pedestrian space in here, just because I can. And also because I can, I'm thinking I'm going to use the cobblestone. I think that'll be a nice little contrast to what'll probably just be more wall-to-wall buildings. In fact, yeah, it's almost certain. Oh no, the library's on fire. Oh, that's a problem. In fact, it's almost certainly going to be wall-to-wall buildings. Although, I mean, oh, we need to do a financial district. We need to do so much. My goal with this series, I think I've mentioned before, I want to try and get through everything, really. I want to try and do as much of what City Skylines has to offer, because I feel like I have, I've missed out on so much. I've seen some comments that were like, hey, you've played all of these DLCs. There is video evidence of you playing all of these DLCs. How do you not know so many of the things that you're fanboying over? And that's fair enough. That's a fair assessment of this series so far. It's basically me discovering that, there's stuff to do in City Skylines that I'm not aware of or wasn't previously aware of. It's been fun though. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm just going to keep on keeping on the way I've been keeping on. I also want to just smooth out this terrain a little bit, because that is a bit of a problem right there. And we're not going to be connecting to this road on the left, because obviously that's going to cause some traffic problems that I'd prefer to avoid. But I think this is good. Just a nice little pedestrian space. We can get some buildings right up against the highway. This bit can probably be tweaked a little bit so that the zoning actually does what I want it to do. And again, that gives us zoning right up against the highway. We've got some space in here for some paths, so let's get those going right away. And I think what we'll do is maybe use, I don't know if there's any difference in the paths here. I think the only thing that changes on the university paths is the type of lamp and the type of benches. So let's use the liberal arts path, because I think it's going to look pretty nice. And we'll just run sort of around this, run around there. We'll run around here as well. And then up this way, I almost want to see if I can do this. And I think it's going to let me. Yeah, I absolutely can do this. Can I go to here? I absolutely can. Let's push down through here. And that gives us a nice connection. So you can walk straight through. We can technically let them do the same thing over on that side as well, although they can already do that down here, so we'll not bother. This could probably be changed for something else, but I'm kind of wondering. So the liberal arts path, can I bring this straight over to this road? I absolutely can. And I think I can do the same thing right about here as well. Okay, so that gives us a lot of space for people to walk around, which is kind of a big deal. As for the rest of this, I think what we'll do is push through here and push through here and then here and here. And I do like the idea of giving them more options. I kind of like the idea of doing this and doing this as well. So that'll give them plenty of space to walk around. And I guess this bit's just not going to be connected. I mean, it could be, but I'm gonna leave it be. So that'll be fine. Let's get this painted as a pedestrian space. Whatever it's going to be called, it is going to be called. So we'll go ahead and just do exactly this right here. We'll bring it down, fill in all of the gaps, and that gives us Willow Pedestrian Area, which is, it's a decent enough name. I'm kind of okay with that. We don't have to clean up the bits on the roads because there's no overlap, and there's not going to be any through traffic because traffic can't go through here. Although I could have some buses come through here, but I think we'll leave it for now. And it actually does need to be a regular district because that's how I get my, wall-to-wall policies. So we'll bring this all around, again, filling up the gaps in the middle. Kent Heights, that's a decent enough name. It's not going to be a very tall district, so the heights part might be a little bit generous, but whatever. We'll get ourselves, I suppose, our styles. So we'll do I want to do wall-to-wall? I'm going to do wall-to-wall is what I'm going to do. It's going to have, I guess, a combination of commercial and residential. It's mostly supposed to be residential. So let's see what we can do. We'll do commercial here. We'll do commercial here. And I guess we'll do commercial sort of around the Around there, I think is fine. We could probably also do it next to the highway so there's no complaints about noise, and then the rest of this is just going to be residential, and that'll nicely boost the population in the area. And my thinking is that people could live here and go to the university. Whether or not they do that doesn't matter. That's sort of my headcanon for this space. You know, I realize I say headcanon as though I don't have full creative control over what is what in this city. I absolutely do. I also realize I forgot to build one of the things that you happen to need for a pedestrian area, which is the small service point. So, let's very quickly get one of those. I'm thinking it could go in that corner. I'm thinking it can go in that corner. It can kind of go anywhere. I think up here actually is the best spot for it. Oh, for God's sake. Sunset, no. Get that out of there. That's not what we're doing. I need my district. I need this to extend up to there for a second. And then I just need to put this thing here. And that should be enough to service this entire space. I would imagine. I would imagine that's going to be enough to service the entire space. So that'll be just fine living there. Let's get rid of that tree and that log. These guys have stopped complaining. And that seems fine. That seems totally okay. I like the idea that the highway punches through some lower to mid-rise buildings and then eventually, you know, is flanked either side by some proper high-rise buildings. And then that thing, just that thing at the end. I still don't love it. I'm trying to be nice to the cathedral, but I just don't love it. Oh, now this is a problem. This is not how this is supposed to function. I mean, that seems like an interesting exploit. I'll be honest. My highway traffic can just dip down into here. They're not, do I want to move this? I don't know if I care. I really don't. It's dumb, but I don't know if I care. That's so stupid. That is so stupid. Oh man. I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it for now. I think I'm also going to go ahead and just change out these pedestrian roads. I kind of do want the sandstone. I like the color. So let's do some sandstone. Let's do the one with the median down the middle. Yeah, I prefer that color. I think it looks a lot more interesting. Let's also just do some trees like this down each of the roads because, I mean, you already know what I'm going to do. You already know what tree I'm going to replace them with because it just looks really good. It does. I happen to love how that tree looks through this space. I'm also going to put it there because it ties everything together. And I am kind of okay with this. I also don't mind the idea of letting people park on these roads. So I'm going to swap these guys out to also have a median. And we'll go to about there. I could do the same for this entire space as well. I think I will. And I think I'm just going to surround that entire space with the same generic pine tree because I just happen to think it looks really friggin' good. So we'll do this the entire way around that space. It's a little much. It's a little extra, but it's okay. And I think I'm also going to have to just change up how it behaves here. So let's just punch a road out of there and out of there. Let's change that middle section to just have some concrete and then do this and do this. And that seems fine. I actually don't mind that. And we can go one further and get rid of, traffic flow 74%. That's fine. We can get rid of the traffic lights. Oh, hold on a minute. Get rid of the traffic lights right here. We can get rid of them here and we can get rid of them here. And we don't need them to go away there. So that gives us a little bit more control. Same thing up here. Those can be stop signs. These guys can also all be stop signs. And I'm realizing that this upper area probably could have also been a pedestrian zone. And I might change it into one. That might be kind of cool. I don't know if I can place unique buildings. I mean, I can place unique buildings in pedestrian zones. What am I saying? I know I can place them in there. Either way, I like this. I think this looks pretty cool. And so I think we can probably go ahead and leave it there for today. We've got a pretty good university going here. It has really good capacity. It is about as detailed as I want it to be for the time being. And I think once it gets to 5 stars, we'll probably go in and tear a couple of parts apart and make it look that little bit better. But as far as foundations go, like I said, I think this is pretty solid. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.